Well everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and compare it against the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra and see which particular phone is a better one for you. Now, the funny thing is between these two phones, they are both very solid. I like both these phones a lot, and I don't really think there's one that's significantly better than the other one. Meaning, I think the S22 Ultra in a lot of ways is still a very good phone, and because of its price tag, it generally speaks to me that it might be a better phone for some people out there. But the S24 Ultra, in my opinion, is probably the better phone in every single way. And when I look at that particular phone, it is insane to me how good of a job Samsung did with this particular device. It's already been about a month or so since this phone has came out. And when I look at this phone, I will definitely tell you at the end of the day, very solid option, very solid device. And if you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these devices, the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, which did come out back in 2022, on the front of this phone has a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED display. It's a 1440p panel and it's a 120Hz display as well. And this is actually a different type of display than the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. The differences is that one, you are getting almost the same type of display, which is nice, but you are getting a curved glass on the Galaxy S22 Ultra, where the S24 Ultra is pretty much flat. That can be an advantage or disadvantage depending on you. I do think with the curved glass, it makes it look way more unique, but also there can be some problems with the curved glass, like accidental touches and different things like that. But I will tell you, with the Galaxy S22 Ultra, I definitely do like this phone a lot. It looked very good when it first came out. You're getting that whole punch display, the top and bottom are basically flat. And I definitely do like this phone a lot because of that. It's, again, it's not perfect by any means or anything like that, but I do think this in and of itself is a very, very good device, and I definitely do think the front panel of the Galaxy S22 Ultra is very, very cool. With the S24 Ultra, on the other hand, this particular device is also, significant. I would say this is a very good device when it comes out to. It's a very good panel. It's still that 6.8-inch dynamic LTPO AMOLED display, and this one's a 1440p panel, 120Hz display as well. Some of the bigger assets and differences here, though, is that it does get 2600 nits of brightness. And that is pretty crazy. That is one of the brightest panels available on the market. And this in and of itself is a very good thing going on for this particular phone. If you're wanting the phone that has the way better battery life, if you're wanting the phone that has the way better display, the S24 Ultra arguably is probably going to be the better display here. You're still maintaining things like 120Hz and 1440p. The only other difference here is that it is a flat display, like I mentioned before. So you're not really going to be able to go ahead and get the, the curved glass if you want to, but regardless, it's still a very good looking panel on the S24 Ultra. On the sides, flat sides on the S24 Ultra, S22 Ultra, like I said, the curved sides on the sides. On the bottom, USB Type-C port, no expandable storage, but you are getting that S Pen, which is actually genuinely a very cool thing. The S Pen is built in on both of these phones, which again I think is a very, very cool thing going on here. So you can either buy the S22 Ultra or the S24 Ultra and still get that S Pen type of capability, which I do think is a very cool thing. I do think if I'm going to go ahead and buy some sort of phone, I definitely want it to have this type of capability. And I do think this, again, in and of itself, is a very cool thing going on for this particular phone too. So without a doubt, from that particular perspective, it definitely gets a thumbs up for me on the exterior, on the sides and everything. On the back side, you're getting frosted glass bags on both these phones. The camera setups are tucked away at the top left corner, and you're getting wireless charging, reverse wireless charging, IP certification, everything across the board that you'd expect in some sort of flagship phone. You are essentially getting on this type of device, which I do think is a very, very cool thing. So at the end of the day, I look at the phones, that I have in front of me, the S24 Ultra and the S22 Ultra, and I like both of these phones a ton. Is there one that I prefer more? Probably the S24 Ultra. It is a better looking one, but I do think with the S22 Ultra, that is also still a very good looking phone when it comes down to it. And they're both almost timeless phones when they come down to it. So from that perspective, that kind of covers it up there. Now in terms of the camera side of things, very similar cameras, but the megapixels can be a little different. So you're getting a 108 megapixel wide angle lens, 10 megapixel telephoto lens, 10 megapixel periscope telephoto lens, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera on the S22 Ultra. The S24 Ultra has a higher megapixel count for the wide angle lens, so 200 megapixel wide angle lens, 10 megapixel telephoto, 50 megapixel periscope telephoto, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. And then you're also getting on the front a 12 megapixel wide angle camera on the Galaxy S24 Ultra, but you had a higher megapixel count, 40 megapixel wide angle camera on the Galaxy S22 Ultra. So that's funny they switched up a little bit there. You're getting 8K capability on the back and 4K at 60 on the front. Very solid cameras on the front and the back of both these phones, which I do think is a very cool thing going on for this particular, phone. So whichever phone you're getting here, you're going to have have probably a really good time with in terms of the camera setup. I do think genuinely between both these devices, I think Samsung knocked it out of the park on both sides, which I think is a very cool thing. I do think if I'm buying some sort of product, I definitely want it to have as great of a capability as possible. And between the S22 Ultra and the S24 Ultra, very good stuff going on here between both, which I think is genuinely a very, very cool thing. Now, there's not a phone that I would look at and be like, oh my goodness, this is significantly better, but quite potentially the S24 Ultra is overall the better camera when it comes down to it. And that's probably the one thing I'd probably say there. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. But the biggest difference I would say for the most part between these two phones would probably come down to the actual, the software longevity. This is by far, again, one of the biggest differences here from one device to the other. This is an insane thing that's going to happen between both these products. And the thing that I love the most about both these phones is that they're still supported with software. They're going to be supported for quite a bit of time. But man, I will tell you, the Galaxy S24 Ultra with its, 7 years of software and security updates is absolutely crazy. The fact that this phone is going to be giving you those types of software updates and features is absolutely crazy to me. And I do think this in and of itself is probably going to be one of the biggest differences and changes between going from the S22 Ultra to the S24 Ultra. You are going to notice for many, many years now, once the S22 Ultra is done getting software support, the S24 Ultra is still going to be giving you so many years of software updates. It's not even funny. That is the craziest thing going on for that particular phone. So this in and of itself, when I look at this type of phone, this in and of itself is a very, very crazy thing going on for it. And I look back and I'm like, man, that's an insane thing going on for this particular, phone. So that in and of itself for the S24 Ultra gets a thumbs up for me as well. And when it comes down to the performance, I mean, this is also kind of, the S24 Ultra is better. You're getting that Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset in the S22 Ultra with 8 or 12 gigs of RAM. With the S24 Ultra, you're getting that Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset inside with 12 gigabytes of RAM. This is another classic case, in my opinion, of both these phones, doing a great job. There's not too much to hate on here. But with the S22 Ultra, performance-wise, this was a very decent performing phone. I thought it was good when it first came out. It did have its own issues when it came down to its, throttling of the 8 Gen chipset and stuff. That did end up getting fixed with the next generation, but I will still tell you for the most part, there again really isn't that much to complain about here. I would kind of look at a phone like the S22 Ultra as being still a pretty decent performing device, but the S24 Ultra is definitely going to be better in almost every single way. You're going to be getting faster load times, faster speeds, faster everything across the board. But I will tell you the S22 Ultra is still perfectly fine for the most part as well, and there really isn't that much craziness to complain about there from that perspective either. So to kind of sum up this entire video, what I would definitely tell you, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra is probably the significantly better phone than the S22 Ultra. I like the S24 Ultra a lot. I think that is an excellent phone in a lot of different ways. And once again, when I look at a phone that, you can buy nowadays, this is a very good option, and I do like that phone a lot. It's not perfect or anything, but I do think Samsung did a really good job with the S24 Ultra, and I still think it's completely worth buying. I still think it has a lot of capability, a lot of quality, and I do think, like I said before, if I'm going to buy some sort of new phone, I definitely want it to be something like the Galaxy S24 Ultra because of the amount of software updates and features it basically has. So in terms of that kind of covers it up here. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.